Okay then. Part 2. Might be a bridge too far at this point, but this is progress right here. Who's this?
ダメージ重視でポイントをつける審判もいるし、戦術や技術を評価する審判もいる。今のは石板をうまく攻撃に利用したところが戦術点として高く評価されたわけだ。なるほど。
Who are you? Oh, look at this. Give it back. Oh. It's such a burden that's been lifted. Long story. Of course. Decent amount, but still. Early days, the basics. I mean, this is a master.
血液型性格判断と同じで根拠はないけどね。僕が考えたオーラ別性格分析さ。
Hey, I like that.
強化系は単純一途。合ってる。合ってるっす。ちなみに僕は変化系。気まぐれで嘘つき。合ってる。
Oh, I love this.
Giving it 系は短期。特質系は個人主義。具現化系は神経質。操作系は
Manipulators?
僕たちは相性がいいよ。性格が正反対で惹かれ合う。とっても仲良しになれるかも。だけど注意しないと。変化系は気まぐれだから。大事なものがあっという間にゴミへ変わる。
Yeah. I've seen that on display.
僕を失望させるなよ。
Okay, gone. Ooh. God damn. Oh, look at this. Oof. It's a different level. It's a different level, man. Okay, immediately got up, so that shouldn't count against him. Oh, oh man. I don't even think he's going all out yet. Fair enough, yeah.
どうした？かかっておいでよ。
やだね、作戦中。あの速さ、目ではなんとか追えるけど、体がついていかない。
それなら無理にでもこっちに来てもらおうか。
No. No, I know how. I know how he'll do it. You have to clock it. You have to clock it. Ah, he clocked it maybe a bit too late though. Ah, it is too late. Bungee gum. You're gonna go to him. Oh, beautiful animation though. Look at this. The style of it as well. I thought maybe. Oh. Elastic love. I love that he has to explain it again. Yeah.
オーラをゴム状に変えて標的に貼り付ける能力。
So I've
バン
heard.
ジーガム
つけるも剥がすも密か次第。
スタンドアップゴー。
This is so engaging, isn't it? Okay, come on, let's go, let's go. Barely.
僕はいつ君のほっぺにバンジーガムをつけたでしょう。
いつガムを
1、肘鉄の時。2、クリーンヒットの時。3、クリティカルの時。
Might have been from the beginning, even.
3だ両手で殴った時だろ。
ブー答えは4。オーラ別性格分析の時に飛ばしてつけたでした。
I mean, he warned you about it. Ah, he did point.
でもちゃんと初めから行を使っていれば。
Yeah, but why not just use it from the beginning, right?
君が行を使っていれば僕のオーラ別性格分析を聞いている
But?
時でも。だがもし1、2、3の時なら
Mm.
気がついたかい。僕は直接攻撃の時もバンジーガムをつけることができる。オーラを隠して使うのは相手が油断している時だけ。
Mm.
普通は相手を殴った時についでにつける。
Wow, look at this.
殴る時ならオーラが見えようが見えまいが関係ないだろう。
密かの打撃を避けられなきゃ。
This is a lesson
隠した
right
オーラを
here
今日で見破っても意味がないんだ。
for Gon and me.
密かのバンジーガムを防ぐためには密かの攻撃をすべて避けなければな
That's
ら
a
ないって
tall
こと
order,
です
isn't
よ
it?
ね。
Nearly
でも
impossible.
防御できれば。
いや、防御もダメ。ガードしてもその部分につけられてしまう。
You have to go with the flow. Think of something, even if you do have bungee gum attached.
どうする？
Use it. Can you use it
さ
somehow?
あおしゃべりはここまで。再開。
Oh, you got to jump on him.
逃げられないなら向かうまでだ。
おーゴーン。その瞳、その表情、その心意気。
It does things to you. I know.
今すぐ君を壊したい。
Oh God.
でもダメダメ。もっと崩すのがもったいなくなるぐらい。
Oh God.
売れてから高く積み上がるまでの
Ooh, the cards.
我慢。
And then he can take it apart.
よし、今のはガードしたぞ。怖い。でもここで恐怖に負けたら、この先どんな相手とだって戦いっこないぞ。
Hmm.
両者クリティカルプラス2ポイントプラスダウンポイント1ヒソカトータルヒソカ9ポイントゴン4ポイント。
ダウンじゃないよ。すぐ起きたもん。ガードしたし。さて、私でも疑惑の判定。ダウンはおろか、まともに攻撃を食らってもおしまい
It's
だ。
okay. It's okay, my guy.
油断大敵だよ。ゴン。右の方を見てごらん。
Ugh.
ああ、ごめん。
There's much to
僕から
learn.
見て右の方だ。
TKO により勝者ヒソカ。
Okay. Different expression there on Killua's face.
君が審判に
Relief
文句を言っていた隙に左手のオーラを石に投げつけた。すかさずバンジーガムで素早く縮めように
Bungee
発
gum. It's a learning experience. There's a
やっぱり
大した成長
For now.
でもまだまだ実践不足
Go out there, learn some more, gain that
あと
experience.
10回くらいやればいい勝負ができるようになるかもね君とはここで戦う 次はルールなしの真剣勝負の世界を命をかけて
So that might not be for some time yet. I love this art style. Look at this. Look at this.
遠い
Ha.
けど全然届かないわけじゃないもっと念を磨いて密かに負けない力を見つける
You'll get there. You'll get there. I mean, Killua and Gon still have to develop their own Hatsu.
この結果、ひそか選手は10勝を達成し、フロアマスターへの挑
The
戦権
floor
を獲得しまし
master.
た。
判定は公正だと自負しているただ今日の一戦は組み合わせの関係上採点基準を下げてでも早めに終わらせるのがベストだとは考えていた
審判によっては危険な試合だと判断したら
I like that.
点数を与えて早めに決着つけることがあるんだ
You see the relief on Killua's face as well, right? Oh, this is goodbye.
彼と戦ったゴン君自身が一番分かっているでしょ
He'll learn. He'll
何
learn.
を
う。何を得たかです。
Oh.
何を得たんだよ
内緒。
ちぇ
ゴン君、キルア君、ここからは君たち自身がそれぞれの道を歩む中で
Love the lighting
そ
here.
れ
Look
ぞ
at
れの
this.
面を完成させてください。
自分お二人に会えてよかったっす超えるべき目標ができて努力に違いがあるっす超えられると思ってんのいつか必ず無理無理
楽しみに待ってるよ寿司おっすありがとうございました
あ一応俺もサンキュー
二人ともお元気
Legend. Legend.
いつかまた
I'm so smiley.
もうここには用はねえし
On to the next.
お前どうすんだ
クジラ島に帰るよとりあえず密かに借りも返したし島に帰ってミトさんにライセンスカードを見せたい
I
んだ
love that. I love that.
もう半年以上帰ってないもんな
Killua's turn now. Oh, that's beautiful.
俺も行こうかなミトさんに会ってみたいしさ
You came to my home? Let me go to your home.
ああちょっと邪魔するぜ
バイバイ天空闘技場
It's a great. It was a great arc. Really enjoyed that. Oh,
密かに一撃を食らわし戦いには敗れたものの目的を達成したゴンの気持ちは爽やかだった
ゴンとギルアの犯罪プロペディア。今日ご紹介するのはゴン。
俺ゴンはハンター試験の時に出会った俺の初めての友達くるくる変わる表情と何考えてんだかわからないところが一緒にいて飽きないんだよな
that's cute. Okay, so that's a conclusion to Heaven's Arena, and on to the next. And up next is Home Sweet Home, and I love that for Gon. I really do. Right? You could just tell in the conclusion there that he really just wants to go home. He wants to see Mito-san again, and I love how wholesome that is. That he wants to show her. Right? Look at this. I've got the license. So I love that. I just love the wholesome aspect of that. And of course, this time he's got a friend, right? He returns home. I mean, I say this time, but this is the first time he's actually returning home. So I think it'll be really nice to have Mito-san meet Killua as well. A legitimate friend that he's made out there. And then of course, if you look at it from Killua's perspective, it might actually give him a bit more insight into Gon, his best friend at this point. But I love how it's flipped at this point, and now Killua gets to go to Gon's home, right? Yes, the situation itself is a bit more laid back because, of course, for Gon, it was a rescue mission, right? It wasn't so laid back. But yeah, now it's Killua's turn to gain a bit more insight into Gon's upbringing and, the things that make him the person that he is today, especially people like Mito-san. And I think it is going to be a bit of a shock for Killua, right? Given his own upbringing. Now he legitimately gets to compare it to something that is a bit more normal. I say a bit more normal because again, there is that missing piece, right? Gon's father is missing from the picture, but let's look at it from another perspective. Yes, he's missing from the picture, but like I said, this is Gon returning home as a professional hunter, right? This is full on, fully fledged hunter at this point, because he's also passed the Nen test, right? He graduated in the last episode. So did Killua, right? Yes, Killua isn't really an official hunter or anything, but yeah, he still got the pass. But coming home as a licensed hunter, I think that could open up a few possibilities. Maybe that could open up a few doors that had to be left shut up until this point, this possible point. And, I guess I'm kind of looking at this from a coming of age perspective as well, right? Kind of like a Clark Kent, Kal-El, getting to, learn about his biological father, right? Jor-El, I believe that's his father's name, his biological father's name, not Pa Kent. But you see this dynamic used a lot in a coming of age type story or character arc, right? Once you kind of reach a certain point, almost kind of reach a prerequisite that's kind of set up in the character arc, in the story arc, perhaps in the larger character arc, or at least in this case, the larger character arc for Gon specifically, now there is a possibility that he might actually qualify to actually obtain more information that might have been kept aside until this point. If or once he is to become a hunter, a professional licensed hunter, then he may gain access to this, right? And this could be anything really. It could be more information, right? Significant information, important information perhaps in his, search for his father. It could be it could be information from his father as well. It could be an object that is going to be significant, perhaps a memento of sorts, anything. But the point is, it's possible that now that he is a hunter, it kind of qualifies him to maybe, open a few doors now, right? It qualifies Mito-san perhaps to open a few doors and let Gon in on something. Because I feel that even if this next mini arc of them going to Gon's home might be a bit more, laid back, might be a bit of a tonal shift, and I think rightfully so. It could be nice to just get a few laid back episodes and, just kind of gain a bit more insight, both us, the audience, and Killua at the same time. But I do feel like him returning home could also play a substantial part in his journey, right? The next part of his journey. So I think there could be something that comes out of this beyond just him, checking in. But even that aspect of it, I'm so excited about that, because if you really look back at these 36 episodes, so much has happened. There's been so much growth, so much development for Gon. So it'll be really nice to have him just be excited about everything, right? Explain everything to Mito-san, right? The stories and how Killua and Gon met, and how, they developed this friendship, all the fun times, all the tough times, all of that, right? It's crazy, actually, if you think back at it. A lot. I've seen a lot at this point in the 36 episodes. But again, it really truly feels like it's just scratching the surface. It is. The thing is, just now at the end of the Heaven's Arena arc, it's beginning to feel like now, finally, they are kind of, going out there in the real world, right? Because even Heaven's Arena had the semblance of a structure, right? Everything is quite structured, official. There is a level of protection there, isn't there? And, it also kind of felt like this extension of the Hunter exam, as they also, confirmed that, yeah, indeed it continues. So I still kind of had that feeling of, okay, this is a controlled situation, right? As Hisoka also alluded to, right? He tells Gon, the next time you and I fight, it is not going to be in this controlled situation, right? It's going to be out in the open. And, at that point, both of us are fighting for our lives, right? Because ultimately, and I'll get to the fight in detail as well. Ultimately, this was Hisoka giving Gon another lesson, right? He wasn't truly out there trying to, take his life. But again, that doesn't mean that it's a fun experience for Gon or anything. Hisoka really put him through it. Yet I still don't think he was going all out. I really don't. I mean, the thing is, it's clear to us, the audience, that yes, it's a mismatch going into it. And I don't think anyone could actually expect Gon to, actually beat Hisoka, right? that's almost kind of like a foregone conclusion before going into the fight. The exciting bit is the journey, the fight itself, right? The things Gon can learn from the fight. And the things Hisoka can learn from the fight as well about Gon. But the thing I really liked about the outcome of the fight itself is the fact that it wasn't truly in the hands of these, main characters ultimately. Yes, they are the focus of this, the focal point of this, but it's the referee who actually has a massive say in the fight itself. I love that. It gives agency to almost an inconsequential side character. But in doing so, it really grounds it, doesn't it? It really grounds it. And I love that. I love that the referee, even though it's not a popular choice, right, given the audience's reaction to it, right, they didn't like that. It feels like, okay, this is moving along a little too quick. He's favoring Hisoka a bit too much, and because of that, the fight might end. So the referee actually takes initiative, right? Again, based on his years of experience, he sees that, okay, this is a mismatch. I mean, yes, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of buzz and excitement. The crowd is really up for it. But my job, even if it is, to play a bit of a buzzkill, is to make sure that this young man does not die in here today. And, thinking back to it, there is this quick frame of him reacting to Gon taking a hit, right? You actually see the exact moment he realizes, and by he, I mean the referee, okay, I need to really look at this now. I need to protect this guy, this young man. And, the thing is, a part of me actually even felt that maybe there is a third party out there that has an interest in Gon, that is kind of protective of Gon at this point. And maybe, this ref is approached by them, this potential third party that I kind of maybe thought of at the moment. But no, it appears that that's not the case at all. There's no third party. But no, it actually just comes down to the referee's agency in that moment, his read on the situation as a professional, right? And from another perspective, it gives us another look at it, doesn't it? From a professional perspective, that indeed this is quite the mismatch. And, this referee felt that, he'll go against a crowd, right? He might have to kill a bit of the excitement, the buzz, but, his job there is to look out for the safety of the fighter in this specific case. And yeah, he certainly understood that maybe, this young man Gon is perhaps a bit too tenacious for his own good. And I have to kind of protect him here and get him out of here as quickly as possible. But circling back to my initial point, now I feel that once they've left Heaven's Arena, now it truly feels like they're out there on their own. Because even in Heaven's Arena, they had Master Wing, right? So yeah, now I feel like it's truly going to be them out there. Of course, before that, it's a bit of a pit stop back at home. And yeah, it looks like unless there is another arc that they might kind of squeeze in there, right? And maybe that is a possibility. It looks like I could be getting to York New soon enough, right? And then of course that's exciting. Because if that is the case, then I'll get to see Kurapika and Leorio back in the limelight, right? Alongside Gon and Killua. Though of course, if indeed it is about to get to York New after this little pit stop, I do hope there is much more of a focus on Kurapika at this point, and Leorio as well, right? Because, I've seen a lot of Gon and Killua, and they'll be around. Of course, they'll be around, accompanying them, both of them. But yeah, right now, I really want to focus a bit more on Kurapika, right? Because again, if indeed it is York New, this is essentially his arc, right? He has so much that is attached to him, again, given his history with the Phantom Troop. But yeah, I've got to say, Heaven's Arena just flew by as an arc. It really did, and I think that's a good thing because I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It didn't feel like it was dragging or anything, right? And the reason for that is because it's actually really quite a crucial arc because it introduced Nen. Hell, that's essentially one of the most crucial components of this story, right? The power system and breaking it down. And hell, it's essentially still just kind of like the basics of it, right? I mean, it gave me quite a bit of it, but I feel like I'll be learning quite a bit more out there, right? In real life situations now. And, it gives us, the audience, a chance now to really apply everything that all of us have learned from the story arc, right? And again, it puts us in the exact same position as characters like Killua and Gon, and then of course, Kurapika and Leorio as well. Again, I'm not sure if Leorio has learned it just yet, but Kurapika has learned it. They confirmed as much. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of look at it now, because ultimately the things that are brought to the forefront in this arc, right, through the Nen system, it kind of changes the series forever. Gon and Killua's friendship is fleshed out a bit more, right, putting them in some really unique situations, right? The introduction of a few new characters, be it, Zushi, Master Wing, be it some of these other combatants that are a part of this tournament, Castro and some of these other characters. And I feel that it also did a great job of, setting up some intriguing plot points for the near future, perhaps long-term as well, right? But yeah, there's a lot of cool moments that you can kind of really look back at, right? I think one of the standout episodes for me was one of the more recent ones as well, the other Phantom Troop member and Hisoka, right, together. To, getting a bit of insight, gaining a bit of insight into Hisoka's Phantom Troop side, right? Or on his Phantom Troop side. And then, of course, everything that came out of that episode. That was a damn good episode. It really was. And then, of course, the staging itself really allowed for progression, right? As Hisoka also noted, yeah, you've made quite a bit of progression, but you still need a lot more experience. And I think he said something like maybe 10 more fights here in this capacity, at this level, and maybe then you might stand a decent chance. He didn't actually say, oh yeah, it might be an even fight or anything. You might maybe stand a better chance. But again, he almost immediately also specified that no, they're not going to be fighting in here again. So, that right there kind of gives us a bit of a time frame for the next time these two might actually fight, right? But the thing is, they're clearly going to, run into each other again in the York New story arc, right? Because of course, the old crew, the boys are going to get back together, right? Kurapika, Leorio, Gon, and Killua. And then of course, Kurapika has to go meet Hisoka. So, there's something interesting there, right? It's not as if the next time they meet is the next time they'll fight. No. This sets it up nicely for a lot of different run-ins, perhaps, before, this fight. That Hisoka knows, he understands that, Gon needs a lot more time, right? The fruit must ripen and all of that. The House of Cards, it must reach its peak before he can bring it tumbling down. I mean, let's not forget Hisoka's ultimate goal, right? At the end of it all, once he deems Gon, worthy, perhaps, once he believes that Gon has reached that potential that just that just does things to him. I mean, listen, at this point, the man is having this out-of-body orgasmic experience. I know, the scene itself is, of course, a little bit jarring, given, the nature of the scene itself and the feeling of it, to put it lightly. I felt that scene, the art style and the approach, I felt that it actually did a great job of putting us, the audience, as much as they can at least, putting us in his headspace. I mean, it's kind of like a representation of Hisoka's happy place, if you will. And I thought the presentation, right, the actual production side of things, I thought it was one of the standout moments. Yes, it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all for Hisoka, right, because Gon happens to be a child, right, and clearly, he does not discriminate in terms of being really, really quite excited about the potential of each one of these people. These individuals he comes across and deems worthy, right? Be it Castro, be it the Phantom Troop, or be it the leader specifically of the Phantom Troop, be it Gon and Killua, right? Confirms to Gon that, yeah, I'm a transmuter. And he also gives him a bit of a heads up, right? Bit of a warning even, right? And this is kind of interesting because our boy Killua is also a transmuter. So you can kind of apply a bit of this to Killua, right? This whole notion of opposites attract, right? It makes sense. It certainly checks out. Gon and Killua certainly make quite the pair. Opposites certainly do attract in that case. And the thing is, there's that interesting moment of him actually specifying, or at least his criteria of the different types, that he has his own method to classify all of this, right? Of using personality to classify aura. Right? I think he said it's similar to the blood the blood type personality test. And I believe that's kind of like a big thing in Japan, or perhaps just a bit more prominent in Japan specifically, right? Or Asian countries specifically. I think it's a thing in Korea as well. But yeah, he prefaced this by saying it's just as unreliable. So it's not really meant to be something that is set in stone and applicable to just everyone across the board. But that being said, he's actually really quite spot on for at least a few of them. Certainly Killua, Gon, Master Wing even, Zushi. Killua and Zushi actually agree, right? And I think Master Wing also agrees. He doesn't see anything, but he knows, there's that look in his face. He's just kind of looking down. He's kind of spot on for at least these ones, right? And the thing is, it makes sense. This is a master user of Nen, right? I think that's fair to say, right? Hisoka is a master Nen user, and he's had all of these experiences. He's come across a lot of different people. He's taken out and essentially killed a lot of Nen users. So he's seen it all. He's come across all types of people. So there is some merit in his appraisal, in his judgment. There is credibility in his opinion. And of course, almost immediately, he knows that Gon is an enhancer, right? Because he's simple and earnest. And it does apply to Master Wing as well, doesn't it? He is simple and earnest for the most part, right? Then, of course, he goes to Transmuter. He himself is a Transmuter. I think he said they're fickle and dishonest. And yeah, the thing is, Killua agreed. Like I said, both Zushi and Killua felt that, yeah, it's kind of spot on for each one of their own, types. For Zushi, he's a manipulator, right? And then, of course, there's a few others. There's emitters who apparently have short tempers. That kind of fits Leorio, doesn't it? Our boy Leorio does have a short temper. So if I was to guess, that could be one of the possibilities for Leorio. Let's try to see if I can maybe gauge Kurapika as an end user. Maybe I can slot him into one of these categories. Next up is Specialist, and yeah, I think maybe Kurapika could fall into that, right? Because Kurapika is independent. But now, I have to be careful here. These are just, again, simple terms as of this point. I'm sure there's so much else that goes into being a specialist, or people that kind of gravitate towards being a specialist. But, on first thought, I'd say Kurapika could fall under this category. Again, given that he is independent, right? He has been. Even the check-in that I got recently, once again, you get that sense of a lone wolf, right? But let's kind of go back to something Hisoka said, a warning, essentially, for Gon. Be careful, I think he said. And it's interesting because us, the audience, knows, in addition to Hisoka, who certainly fits the bill, Killua is also meant to be a transmuter. So it's interesting, right? It's interesting. Perhaps, a bit of foreshadowing, a bit of food for thought, essentially, because ultimately Killua isn't that much like Hisoka, but there could be some similarities, right? Especially down the line, perhaps in the long-term future of the series. Who knows? And I think he said something like it takes a second for treasure to turn into garbage or trash, right? And I've seen this really quite recently, right? This nature of Hisoka's, right? Or Hisoka's nature, rather, sorry. He discarded Castro as his plaything, right? He was a plaything once upon a time. He let him live for that reason because he saw the potential in Castro to grow. And you see much more recently, he decided that, Phantom Troop is old news. Let me kind of discard them now. Let me go after them now because I've found new playthings in Killua and Gon, right? Just like that. But shifting the focus back to the fight itself, the continuation of the fight, yeah, as expected, it's kind of dipping into, or it does, it full on dips into the Nen segment of it. Bungee Gum. It's a showcase for Bungee Gum. It's a showcase for Hisoka and how creative he is. Also known as his elastic love. Yeah, it's not the most subtle, is it? And, the thing is, at first, Hisoka kind of tries to set it up as, oh, if you had just figured out that one moment, you could have dodged my bungee gum. You could have somehow, gone around it. And he sets this up by telling him, oh, let me know, is it option A, is it option B, option C, the three different strikes. But it turns out it didn't matter. At the end of the day, it does not matter, because ultimately it is a nearly impossible task to avoid bungee gum, Hisoka's bungee gum, right? Once you become ensnared in it, right, you're not getting out of it. It's as simple as that. You are at the mercy of Hisoka, or you are at Hisoka's mercy. And, Hisoka saw a teachable moment there as well, because he knows Gon is now thinking, I should have been using Gyu or Gyo right from the beginning, right? But he lets him know, listen, even if you would have avoided my bungee gum at that specific moment, because you may have been using Gyo, it doesn't matter. You have to look at the other possibilities. I could have used it. I could have attached my bungee gum to you in countless other moments. So essentially, it just kind of reiterates that Hisoka is just, I don't know, nearly untouchable, right? Yes, you can land blows on him. Yes, Gon lands punches on him. Again, that kind of sends him into a bit of a frenzy, right? That Gon kind of, gets a jump on him, almost immediately adapts to the situation and decides, okay, if I can't escape it, he actually does the one thing he can do. He uses it, goes with the flow. And yeah, that really, really got Hisoka going. But yeah, at this point, who can match this guy, right? Phantom Troop members, possibly the leader of the Phantom Troop. There's other characters, of course. He's shown interest in Netero. Maybe they might come across each other again at some point. Who knows? But that being said, I do hope that the Phantom Troop is at least a challenge for Hisoka, right? That it's not as simple as him just kind of running through them. And I do feel that at least the leader of the Phantom Troop is going to be someone that is perhaps closer to Hisoka's level. But yeah, the continuation of the fight, really quite engaging once again. The really dynamic fight choreography, the fantastic animation, where, there's a few moments that are really quite unique to Hisoka specifically, I think. Even in the animation, in the art style. It really kind of channeled how fluid and free he is in his movements and also in his disposition. And let's not forget the voice acting. My God, I mean, that script, that scene specifically, Hisoka having his moments. Yeah, that must have been an interesting experience to say the least for the voice actor. And of course, let's kind of focus on the scene itself a bit more. It's kind of a continuation of the really jarring nature of his reaction to Gon in the last episode, right? You're turning me on. I mean, hell, again, no subtlety at that moment, right? It's all out there. It's all been laid out there at this point. It is jarring. It is uncomfortable, right? And again, it's all by design. It's all by design. Of course it is, to put the audience in this position, because the writer knew that Hisoka has qualities that make him a really fascinating and intriguing character, a character that can be a fan favorite. But let me kind of play around a bit and give him some of these qualities as well. So it kind of puts the audience on almost kind of like on the fence. It's like, I like the guy, or I happen to like this guy, but he's also like this, right? It's a really, I mean, not interesting dynamic. It's really quite a strange dynamic to be such a fan of a character that is also capable of that. But again, the thing is, it's undeniable. It simply is. That this character, Hisoka, is one of the most fascinating and intriguing in this anime, in this story. And listen, I can only really give you my take on it, having experienced a lot of storytelling, having consumed a lot of storytelling over the years in my lifetime, in all kinds of different mediums. These types of characters exist. They've always existed, right? They are capable of despicable behavior, perhaps. There is a dark side to them, really quite a dark side to them. But you cannot deny that there is something quite fascinating that just kind of pulls you in, that you do kind of find yourself gravitating towards. So of course, I'm really quite excited for Hisoka's journey from this point on as well. But also, this is just the early days. That means, if I am going to see more of Hisoka, I am going to see more of that side of him as well. So, I have to be ready for that. And of course, one of the standout moments is Hisoka's exit. Right? Leaving the arena and, Gon just kind of left thinking about it. I thought it was a beautiful presentation, almost kind of presented as tunnel vision for Gon specifically as well. It kind of also reminded me of that dream he had episodes ago at this point about his father, right? And, even the line of dialogue there, or, the inner monologue at that point, he's so far, but he's not out of reach. So yeah, I thought that was a great final moment to have between the two. For now, ultimately, the key being he's not out of reach. Now, in terms of Gon and Killua's education in Nen, continuing education in Nen, Hatsu is not one of the elements that they really got a chance to explore, right? So to me, it kind of feels like they'll leave that aspect of it to perhaps another individual, right? Or a handful of individuals, perhaps, right? All kind of depends on how it plays out in any specific story arc, because Wing has done his part, right? He's given them the basics. He's given them a platform, right? And, the story arc itself actually felt like quite a fantastic building blocks story arc, a foundational story arc. So, as far as Hatsu goes, and as far as Gon and Killua having their own unique styles of Hatsu, right? Channeling those unique styles, is there going to be someone else that is going to help them? But if that is the case, it's not really anything official anymore, right? It's not part of the Hunter exam, so it has to come almost naturally, right? It's going to happen out there in the open. But yeah, I think that should do it for this episode. And that's a wrap up on Heaven's Arena. And ultimately Gon does return the tag. And I thought that was a great moment. Great moment. And the thing is, you look at it and you see that Hisoka was completely expecting it as well, right? He walks towards him, and of course Gon does the same thing, because it's just this understanding between the two that, okay, it all played out. Everything has been met. The standards have been met. Here's your tag. Take it. So that's a great moment. Great wrap up. And now, of course, by his own standards, Gon can finally make use of everything that the Hunter license, the complete Hunter license has to offer, right? Again, first up, back home. And then beyond that, it's going to get real. It's going to get juicy, isn't it? And I'm excited, man. I'm really quite excited for all of it. I'm really into this. I really am, if you couldn't tell already. But yeah, if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you're interested in early access to the next few episodes right now, full opacity or timer-based full length, consider checking out the Patreon page. The links are in the description and the pinned comments, also links to social media. Thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 37. Until then, take it easy.